Well, Beezelworld is coming up, and I've been kind of wondering what Rolex is going to come up with. Yes, I realize there are other manufacturers out there who debut new products, but who cares, really? I mean, let's be honest. And I've checked a couple of places, looked at monochrome watches, and also the Rolex Passion Report. Good stuff. Go there, check it out. Now, of course, completely speculative on this point, on my part. Rolex does what Rolex wants to do. They take the industry, they take their line of products where they think the industry needs to be, not where we want it to go. You know, I'm thinking about the Henry Ford quote. If I'd given the people what they wanted, I would have just come up with a faster horse. Now, I think the new Sea Dweller, I think the red Sea Dweller, I think the red line will continue. And that's because Rolex is not going to make something just for 1 year, because that would be making those watches more than the subsequent watches. Let's get one thing straight. Rolex makes watches so they'll make money, not so you'll make money. You know, and I actually had a really good discussion with my friend Dr. Bruce, who thankfully was not calling me from the airport. And we're talking about modern Rolex watches. And my position was that Rolex, the more modern pieces, it's declaring war on patina. That way all the, any used Rolex piece, other than abuse, they'll all age uniformly the same. One piece will not be worth more than another. 20 years from now, all the Submariners made today will look pretty much the same as the other ones, subjected to normal use. And Dr. Bruce's response was, yeah, it's a shame that's a consequence of doing that. But his line of thought is that he kind of respected Rolex for wanting to up their production and manufacturing game to take away individual variances of how the watches will age over the years. Okay, I see where he's coming from, but, there's not going to be, I don't know how well these other pieces are going to age. I do like me some patina. Now, one of the things that everyone seems to widely think that Rolex is going to introduce the new movement that they started out with the day date, and then worked its way into the date just 3135. It's the one that Don Haynes is in love with. He said it'll eventually have to work its way into the Submariner. And that's kind of a crappy little game that all the Swiss watchmakers. They stick their crappiest movements in their most popular models, knowing that we're going to sell them anyway. Instead, if they come up with a new movement, they try to boost less popular models and try to give them a bit of a rise, at least temporarily. Like the Baumeister from Baum and Mercier is the first one to feature Richmont's new movement from earlier in the year. One of the other things that's been subjected is that Rolex will start backing away a little bit from the maxi case, bigger lugs, bigger bracelets, and kind of go back to the more traditional Submariner size. And, actually, Roddy Garcia actually tracked me down earlier, or actually yesterday, and was asking about that. He had a watch question. And he was looking at the new Sea Dweller specifically because he does not like the maxi case. So, maybe monochrome watches have a point there. A lot of ways, to a certain degree, the new maxi case on the Submariners last couple of years with the ceramic bezels. Ceramic bezels are nice, but the maxi case has been just a little bit divisive. So maybe they'll, by the time Rolex comes up to a trend, the trend is almost over because they're so conservative. So, Roddy, wait and see what the bezel, get on the list for the Subdweller, yeah, but wait and see what Rolex comes up with here at the end of the month. Now, as for GMTs, you know, everyone's asking, cola bezels finally? Cola bezels? And, you know, there is two distinct lines of thought. One is that they're absolutely not going to do cola bezels for a couple of reasons, because they'll devalue the precious metal versions of the watches, and also that Rolex doesn't really go back. Rolex doesn't revisit things. Rolex goes forward, never backwards. But on the other hand, there's another line of thought saying that the Rolex tries manufacturing concepts with the precious metal versions first. For instance, I've heard it's not the easiest thing to come up with those bicolor or two-colored ceramic bezels. It's easier for Rolex to try them first in the precious metal versions, knowing that they won't make as many. Then once they get the manufacturing processes done, then they'll introduce some of the more mainstream models like two-tone and stainless steel. And the other thing is, as for Rolex, you know, Rolex always goes forward, never backwards. You know, the only two words I have against that is Rolex Milgauss, one of the most unpopular Rolex models, one of the niche models. For years and years, they couldn't move those things. And once they started going up in popularity on the second-hand market, because of the rarity, then Rolex reissues the Milgauss. Now, as for the Batman, incredible scarcity, but even over here in the flyover states, you know, they went from God knows when we'll see one again to literally 3 ADs having them nearby me roughly contemporaneously. That tells me either one of two things. Either A, they're starting up, you know, the production line again because, you know, it is 2018. It's a new year. Or B, is Rolex clearing out their existing stock? Good question, and I don't really know the answer. I suspect they're just starting up production again. So, you know, that's just something else when you think about it. Rolex, and it seems like the industry as a whole is going back to its roots, or paying homage to the past. Are they going back to what works, or are they simply out of new ideas? Or are they unafraid to take new risks? Now, a couple things. You know, would I like to see? You know, Monochrome Watches had some concept art for a Polar Explorer 1. Cool looking watch. I don't think it'd be very popular like the Polar 2, but it'd be a cool watch to see. Something I'd like to see, personally, is a new Seamaster with a precious metal inlay in the bezel rather than the entire bezel being very precious, very soft metals. I think it'd make the watch a lot more durable. And finally, what current models do you think will be dumped? What current models do you think should be dumped? You know, I'll be honest, Yachtmaster 2, really? And as for the Rolex Cellini, it's just like you almost want to say, guys, give it up. You're not going to capture the Calatrava market. You haven't done it so far. You're not going to do it. I don't care what complications you see. Though, I did see some concept art because last year they did a Cellini model with a moon phase. And someone said, well, why not go completely back to the roots and put on in a triple date moon phase? And God knows, I do love me a triple date with moon phase. It would be interesting to see. But honestly, Cellini, Rolex, really, why are you still trying? Anyway, what do you guys have to say on the subject? Where am I halfway right? What makes sense? And where did I completely cock up? That's about it. Hope everyone out there has a good day.